Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this introduction to Tableau workshop. The workshop materials are available on the DMC Guides homepage. You can access it through DMC homepage on dmc.rice.edu and click on DMC Guides under Asking for Help. So this is DMC Guides homepage. Under Research session, over here, you will see the workshop materials, including presentation slides, workshop handout, data files, links to the published quizzes. Tableau is a business intelligence tool. It is designed and created to create web-based interactive data visualizations. It has very intuitive, user-friendly interface. Its drag and drop feature enables both technical and non-technical people to quickly build effective data visualizations. So you have a quick production time. In this workshop, we are going to use Tableau Public. We're going to get to know Tableau product suite and know what Tableau Public is and its limitations. Mainly, we are going to learn how Tableau Public works and its basic workflow. The workshop has three parts. The first part is a brief presentation on Tableau Public. The second part is the hands-on part. I'm going to walk you through a data visualization project with DMC equipment circulation data. And the last part is an exercise on your own. The products on the first row, on the top row, is for personal use. The main product is Tableau Desktop, is for personal data analysis and data visualization. Tableau Prep is a data preparation tool. It's for people to combine, clean, and format data. Tableau Reader is a read-only application. Is used to view work created by Tableau Desktop. Tableau Online and Tableau Server are for organizational use. Tableau Server needs a large financial investment. It also needs people to maintain it. Tableau Online is a cloud solution for an organization. Tableau Public is a free service or solution offered by Tableau company. In order to use Tableau Public, you will need to use both Tableau Desktop and Tableau Server, just the public version though. So once again, in order to use Tableau Public, you need to download and install Tableau Desktop Public Edition on your local machine. You will also need to create an account on Tableau Public Server. Tableau Public is free. It has some limitations. The main limitation is you cannot save work locally. You can only save work to Tableau Public Server. In terms of data connection, you're limited to connect to static data files, such as Excel, CSV file. Since you cannot save any work locally, this introduces security concern for your data. Once your work is saved, published to the Tableau Public Server, the Viz is open to everyone. There's no way you can protect it. The underlying data, there's a setting you can turn it on to protect the underlying data. However, it's still not recommended you save, publish any sensitive or confidential data to the public, to the Tableau Public Server. It's just not a good practice. Another free service from Tableau is academic program that students and Tableau instructors can get free 1-year license for the full version of Tableau and Tableau Prep, and you can renew it on yearly basis. So this is the basic data visualization workflow with Tableau. First, you need to connect to data. You can connect to static data files like Excel, spreadsheet file, CSV file, JSON file, relational database, cube data, data on cloud. And once data is connected, you can use worksheet to create basic views or basic charts like bar chart, line chart, scatter plot, and other charts. And once you have a few worksheets created, you can put them together to form a dashboard, and then you can make your dashboard interactive. And last, you can save your work locally, or you can save your work to a server. With Tableau Public, the limitation is at the connectivity and the distribution. You are limited to connect to static data files. When you save your work, you can only save it to the Tableau Public server. In terms of data analysis, no difference between the full version and the public version. Before we get started, let's see a local example from Rice Office of Institutional Research. Here is its website. We can see some embedded data visualizations. When we scroll down, we can see the Tableau logo. Actually, all the visits over here were first published on Tableau Public server, then they are embedded to their website. Tableau was designed to create web-based data visualizations, so you can embed it very conveniently to your website or your blog. These visits are not super fancy, but function very well for their purpose. This is an interactive text table. On the side, you can select school or program level. This is a dashboard with 3 line charts. You can select a trend variable. You can see this is an interactive dashboard. This is another dashboard with a text table on top and at the bottom. And the middle is an interactive pie chart. You can select a term, you can select program level, and you can also select a variable for school, gender, geographic origin, and race ethnicity. With this example in mind and using DMC equipment circulation data, this is what we are going to create in our hands-on part. We will start with a basic bar chart. Then we will create a stacked bar chart, circle chart, static text table. Then we are going to create a few line chart, an interactive text table. You can see, you can select year or equipment category. And then with all the charts created, we are going to build an interactive dashboard with 3 line charts, and you can select equipment category. We are also going to create another interactive dashboard, so the top sheet will be able to drive the bottom sheet, and also to compare equipment checkout over years among different user groups. Let's get started. Open Tableau Public. In the data connection interface, on the left-hand side, you will see you can connect to different type of static data files. You can connect to Excel file, text file, JSON file, PDF file, but you cannot connect to databases. So for this workshop, click on Microsoft Excel and locate where your data file is saved. Select it and open. While the data is loading, I'm going to open this data file in Excel. Let's take a look at the data we are going to work with. So each row corresponds to an equipment checkout or a charge in library's term. For each equipment checkout, you can see the equipment barcode, equipment category, time that the equipment is being checked out, and title, call number for the equipment, and the user profile. When I select the first column, you will see the count is 13179. That means the number of rows in this data file is 13178, since the first row is column headers. Mainly, we're going to use data in equipment category, time charge, title, call number, user profile, and number of charges. So those are the columns we are going to work with in our hands-on part. Back to Tableau. So once the data is connected, the first 1,000 rows have been loaded for you to preview. And when the data is connected, the column headers are viewed as variables, or they are called fields in Tableau. Each field is assigned a data type. So you see the pound sign that represents number. You'll see by default, this barcode is assigned a number. Although barcode is a series of numbers, but it should be a string instead of number because you cannot add them up. When you add them up, it doesn't mean anything. So let's change it to string. So the automatically assigned data type may not be correct. You need to go through and make sure all the assigned data type is correct, because data type will affect how you can manipulate the data. So that's very important. And everything else looks good. Time charge is a date and time. Number of charges is number. So click on sheet 1. So this is Tableau's interface. On top is menu, and below it is toolbar. And in the central area is this view area, and we can also see columns, rows, marks, filters, and pages shelf. On the left-hand side is this data pane. Fields have been separated by the thin green line. Above it, they are dimensions. Below it, they are measures. Dimensions are qualitative fields. They typically hold categorical or descriptive data that cannot be aggregated, such as equipment category, time charge, user profile. Measures are quantitative fields. They hold numerical data that can be measured and aggregated, such as number of charges or typical fields like profits or sales. Next, I'm going to demonstrate how to use Tableau's drag and drop feature and show me menu to build basic views or basic charts. So I'm going to drag number of charges to the view. Number of charges is a measure. So when you drag a measure into the view, it is automatically aggregated. In this case, the default aggregation method applied is sum. So if we want to see how the DMC equipment has been checked out over time, so I can drag time charge to rows, and then we can see that one number has been split into 3 numbers. At the lower left corner, I can see 3 marks. And further, if I want to see how the DMC equipment has been checked out over years and among different user groups, so I can drag user profile to column. So that 3 numbers have been further split into 29 numbers, 29 marks. So each mark corresponds to one row of data or a group of data in the data source. So measures come to the view automatically aggregated. Dimensions come to the view as column or row headers. Dimensions define how the data is aggregated. In other words, dimensions defines the granularity of the data. At the upper right corner, you will see, if you click on Show Me, you will see Show Me menu. It lists 24 common chart types. In no way, this is a comprehensive list. It's just 24 common chart types. So with the data in the view, you will see there's one chart type that is highlighted with orange frame. That is what Tableau recommend you to use based on the data you have in the view. Since we have a time charge field in the view, so it is good to use line chart to see changes in data value over time. So that's why it recommend you to use line chart. And then you can explore like a horizontal bar chart or stacked bar chart or side-by-side bar chart, different chart types. If you mouse over, you see a chart is grayed out. That means that chart is not applicable based on the data you have in the view. Like in this case, we only have one measure in the view, that is number of charges, but like scatter plot, it requires 2 to 4 measures, so it's grayed out. So that's a quick demonstration about how to use Tableau's drag and drop feature and Show Me menu to create a chart or basic view you want. I can clear my sheet and we can move on to the hands-on part. We will follow our handout. On page 11, the question is, what is the total number of charges over years? Compare the total number of charges across years. So we will need 2 fields. One is number of charges and one is time charge. We can drag number of charges to the view area. When you drag number of charges to the view area, we are creating a view from a text table perspective. We want to create a chart, so remove it, drag number of charges to rows shelf. So when a measure is brought into view, it is automatically aggregated. The default aggregation applied over here is sum. Then drag time charge to column shelf. So the default chart type is line chart. Line chart is good to view changes in data values over time. In other words, it is good to view data trend over time. We want to compare the total number of charges across years. So bar chart is good to compare data across categories. So we will change it to bar chart. From Mark's drop-down menu, choose bar chart. On the toolbar, you can turn on mark labels or click it again to turn it off. Date level is determined by the highest level that contains more than one distinct value. Our dataset contains 3 years of data, so the highest level is year 2014, 15, and 16. Rename the sheet charges by year. Similarly, we can compare the total number of charges across months, weeks, and hours. Click on New Worksheet. There are 3 buttons. The first button is New Worksheet. Click on it. Drag number of charges to rows, time charge to column. So the default date level is year. We want to change it to month. There are 2 sets of date level. The first set is for discrete date level, and the second set is for continuous date level. Discrete means data is individually separate and distinct. Continuous means data can take any value in a range, forming an unbroken whole. Dates can be brought into the view as either continuous or discrete. We will use discrete set. Choose from the first set for our activity. Click on month and change it to bar chart because bar chart is good for comparing data across categories. So we can rename the worksheet to charges by month. We can also right-click over the worksheet we just created and click on duplicate. And then we can just change the date level from months to say weekday. Then I can rename the sheet to charges by weekday. I can continue to duplicate this worksheet and change the date level to hour. So I can rename it to charges by hour. On the toolbar with the swap button, you can swap rows and columns. With the sort button, you can sort the bars in ascending order or descending order. Click on descending order to sort it in descending order or sort it in ascending order. And you can click on this clear sheet drop-down menu and clear sorts. Alternatively, on the axis, you can click on this sort button to sort it in descending order or ascending order, or the third click to clear the custom sort. Next, let's see the activity on page 15. The question is, what is the total charge for each group each year? We are going to create a new worksheet and we are going to drag number of charges to rows, time charge to columns, just like charges by year. And then I'm going to change it to bar chart. So now we have 3 marks from the status bar. We can see this is 3 marks. So I'm going to drag user profile to color card. So when I drag user profile to color card, the members in the user profile will separate each mark according to the members in the user profile. and assign a unique color to each members in user profile. So you will see this stacked bar chart. On the right-hand side, you can see the color legend. So we will rename it charges by year by user profile. So stack bar chart is a good way to represent totals for each year. And it also includes details defined by another dimension, user profile over here. If we want to compare the total number of charge for each user group each year, let's duplicate this worksheet. And from the Show Me menu, I can choose horizontal bars. Now, instead of a stacked bar chart, I got a panel chart. So this panel chart is really good to compare the total number of charge across user groups each year. So I can rename it panel chart. Similarly, on page 16, we have an activity. The question is, what is the total charge for each equipment category each year? This time we are going to create a circle chart. So create a new worksheet, drag number of charges to rows, time charge to column, and we're going to change it to a circle chart. And then drag equipment category to color. So right now in the view, we have 3 marks. Once I drag equipment category and drop it to the color mark card, the members in equipment category will separate each mark according to the members in the equipment category. So you will see that. So now we have 31 marks. And each member in the equipment category is assigned a unique color. In general, people are drawn to use circle chart because the varied size of circles provides meaning about the data. In our case, if the circle size is bigger, that should represent the larger number of checkout. So we can drag number of charges to size to like the circle size to reflect the number of checkout. The bigger the circle size, the larger the number of checkout. So we will rename this circle chart. There are different ways to create charts in Tableau. Instead of drag and drop, you can also select dimensions or measures in the data pane. Then from the Show Me menu and choose the chart type you want to use. So next, we will create a text table. So click on the New Worksheet. Select number of charges, user profile, equipment category, time charge, and from the Show Me menu, click on Text Table. Now we have a text table. You can also rearrange dimensions or measures on the column or rows shelf, so to make the table the way you like it. So I will rename it static text table. If there's a data hierarchy in your data, you can drill down or scroll up that data hierarchy. Drilling down usually means expanding out a hierarchy, getting to the next level of detail. When you connect to a data source, Tableau automatically separates data fields into hierarchies so you can easily break down the viz. Let's see how to drill down and scroll up the date hierarchy. Create a new worksheet, drag number of charges to rows and time charge to column. And you will see a plus button in front of the time charge pill. So whenever you see a plus button, that means you can click to expand it. Whenever you see a minus button, that means you can click to collapse it. Let me choose bar chart, and I click to expand it. You will see the view has become nested tables. I can further expand it. And if there's a dimension, subdimension, I don't want it, I can click and delete it. Or at any time, I can collapse it. We can also form our own data hierarchy. Look at the dimensions in the data pane. We see equipment category and title call number. There's a hierarchical data relationship between these two dimensions. So to form a data hierarchy between these two dimensions, I can drag the lower level dimension field and drop it to the higher level dimension field. And I'm forming a custom data hierarchy. To test it, I can drag number of charges to rows and drag this new custom data hierarchy to column. I can swap rows and column, and you will see this plus button. So I can expand it or I can collapse it. Another way to create custom data hierarchy is by creating groups. I'm going to clear this sheet. If I drag user profile to the view, I can see I have 13 marks, 13 members in this dimension. So I want to simplify these members by forming groups at a higher level. So I want to create a group of faculty, staff, students, and others to simplify the group members. So what I can do, I can click over user profile and go to create group. I can select all the members related to students, graduate 14, 15, 16, and undergraduate, and group, say students, group all other members, and say others. And I'll just use, I'll just click OK. And I can, you can see there's a new dimension added to data pane. I will rename it to user profile groupings. So this is a higher level data. So user profile is a lower level field. So to form a data hierarchy, I just need to drag the lower level field and drop it to the higher level field. I'll just click OK. And to test the newly created custom data hierarchy, I can just drag this data hierarchy to column and drag number of charges to rows And I like horizontal bars. So I swap rows and column, and you can see this plus button. You can expand it, the minus button to collapse it. Filters allow you to focus your analysis on a subset of the data. There are different ways to filter your data. Let's create a new worksheet, create a basic view with number of charges, time charge, and a bar chart, user profile to the color mark card. You can select data point directly in the view to include or exclude the data point. I can undo to remove the filter and come back to the original view. Or I can select header and to keep only or exclude the entire row or columns of data. So this is another way to add filter to the view. I can click undo to go back to the original view. Or you can drag a dimension or a measure directly to the filter shelf. The filter dialog box opens up. From the general tab, you can select the values to keep or to exclude. This filter dialog box differs depending on which field you are dragging to the filter shelf, whether that field is a dimension, a measure, or a data field. So for this filter, we just keep all values and just click OK. Interactive filters are a great way to let end users interact with a visualization. To make a filter interactive, we need to turn on show filter. So the filter will show on the right-hand side of your screen. Now you can modify the filter to select a subset of the data or to select the whole set of data. Next, we will create an interactive line chart. The activity is on page 23 on the handout. The question is, what is the equipment checkout trend for faculty, staff, and student over years in terms of different type of equipment? So we are going to create 3 line chart. A line chart for faculty, a line chart for staff, and a line chart for student respectively. So create a new worksheet. Drag number of charges to rows, time charge to column. We will use the line chart this time. Drag user profile to filters, and I'll just keep faculty. Just click OK. And drag equipment category to filters. I will select all and just click OK. And for equipment category, I'm going to click on show filter. So now I have this interactive filter that end user can modify the filter selections. I'm going to rename this line chart as faculty line. I can repeat the above steps to create staff line just quickly. And this time I'm going to keep staff and equipment category, all values, show filter. So this is staff line. I can even duplicate this worksheet and just change the filter to students. And I'm going to rename it as student line. Next, we are going to create an interactive text table. This is on the page 24 of the handout. So create a new worksheet. I'm going to select number of charges, user profile grouping, time charge, equipment category. And from show me menu, I'm going to create a text table. And I can rearrange the row and columns. Now I'm going to drag time charge to filters. So time chart is a date field. In Tableau, date field can be continuous, which is green color, or discrete, blue color. So let's select discrete years. Just click on next, and we will select all the 3 years and just click OK. And I want to show filter so end users can interact with this filter. I'm going to drag equipment category to filters shelf. And select all the values and just click OK. And show filter. So now I have 2 filters and users can interact with. I will rename this as text table interactive. We have created several charts. I want to take a few minutes to talk about how Tableau works. So when you drag and drop different dimensions or measures and drop it to the different area in the interface, so what happens behind the scene, what Tableau is doing for you. I have a figure on page 25 on the handout. So when you drag and drop fields, you are forming a VizQL, Visual Query Language. That VizQL is translated to text-based like SQL, MDX, or RQL text-based query language. And that text-based query language is sent to the data source. And a data set is returned. And based on the returned data set, Tableau will form a visualization for you. Similarly, on the Tableau website, you can see the concept of VizQL. So they have a picture just like what I have on my handout. So from Tableau interface, you form a VizQL by drag and drop or double clicking, and that VizQL is translated to text-based SQL, and that is send it to data source, and a data set is returned, processed, and rendered, and then you got a chart or a visualization. So there's an example. If you drag a date field like order date to the filters shelf, you will see a where clause is added to the SQL query language. So what dimension or measure you drag and drop to the view area or the shelf, or in which order you drag and drop and where you drag and drop, all makes a difference since you are forming a visual query language. We have several worksheets created already, as you can see on the tab listed at the bottom. Now we will see how to create dashboards with available worksheets. Click on the middle New Dashboard button. A dashboard is a collection of several worksheets in a single place so that you can view, monitor, and compare a wide variety of data simultaneously. A dashboard is also all about interactivity among worksheets. So once a dashboard is created, on the left-hand side, you can change its size, different options over here. I'm going to choose fixed size, full screen. And you will see all the worksheets you have created so far. On page 26 of the handout, the activity is to create an equipment checkout trend dashboard. So we're going to use the 3 line charts we have created and form a dashboard to display equipment checkout trend. Drag faculty line to the dashboard and drop it. And drag staff line. And before you release the mouse button from the semi-transparent frame, you can tell where you can drop your worksheet. So I'm going to drop it to the bottom. And I'm going to drag student line over and drop it next to staff line. So we know when we create the 3 line charts, each line chart has a filter on equipment category. So I'm going to close the filter from the staff line and student line worksheet. I just left the filter for faculty line worksheet. And right now, if I modify the selection on the filter, and you will see only the top sheet, the top worksheet is affected. If I want the filter to be applied to all the 3 worksheets on the dashboard, I can go to the filters settings and go to apply to worksheets, selected worksheet, all on dashboard. So click OK. Now, if I modify the selections on the filter, and you will see all the 3 lines change accordingly. You can change the filter appearance from this filter settings drop-down menu. You can also change the appearance of the dashboard, say, show dashboard title. And you can give your dashboard a title, say, equipment. Just click OK. Let's see another dashboard example. Click on New Dashboard and change the size to fixed size, full screen. Drag a stacked bar chart, charges by user profile grouping, and drop it to the dashboard. And also drag the circle chart and drop it to the bottom. You will see different color legend. To save space, I'm going to close it, like color legend on equipment and legend on number of charges. There's a filter from the top worksheet. I'm going to keep it, but to save space, I'm going to make it floating. That means I can put it wherever I want it to be. And also, I'm going to make it a single value drop down to save more space. Click on all. The filter only applies to the top sheet. So if I wanted to apply to the bottom sheet as well, similarly, I go to apply to worksheet and select a worksheet. and just all on dashboard. And now if I select faculty, you will see the bottom sheet changes as well. There's another way to add interactivity to your dashboard. Click on the top sheet, you see the funnel icon. If I turn it on, that enables the top sheet to filter the bottom sheet. So when you select part of the data point on the top sheet, the bottom sheet will be filtered accordingly. So in other words, the top sheet will drive the bottom sheet. So that's an easy action you can use on your dashboard. So this filter comes with the worksheet. If you want to add more interactivity to your dashboard, you can also add more filters on the dashboard. So go to filters, year of time charge, and you can change the appearance of the filter, say floating, and maybe single value drop down, and rearrange it, the filter. So to make your filter to apply to selected worksheet, okay. And click on the filter title, change it to a title that starts with a verb, so your end users can intuitively know this is something they can interact with. Click OK. So similarly, select user group. So back to the default settings. Tableau also has a story feature that allows you to present your data story, your data analysis story within Tableau. So the third button at the bottom, this new story, click on it to create a new story. So on the left-hand side, you will see all the worksheets and dashboard you have created so far. So you can just drag and drop to create a story point, and click on the blank to add a new story point, and just drag. And you can also add a caption to create your story. Once you finish creating your story, you can go to Window Presentation Mode. And there's a navigation button. You can get started from the first point and navigate through your story points to present your story. We have created several worksheets, a couple of dashboards, and a story. We haven't saved our work yet. The major limitation about using Tableau Public is you cannot save any work locally. So you have to save work to Tableau Public server. In order to save your work to Tableau Public server, you need to have an account set up on Tableau Public server. So go to File, Save to Tableau Public, and I log in already. And you are taken to Tableau Public server online space. There's a settings, this gear menu. You can turn on show Viz sheets as tab, so you can easily navigate your the worksheets and dashboards and story you have created. If you have allow access turn on, that means other people can see your Viz and can download your Viz as well. So they can see your underlying data. If you don't want people to see your underlying data, you want to turn this off. You can also share your Viz. This is the embed code, and this is the link. So the third part of this workshop is exercise on your own. Navigate where your data files are saved and open the Word file. It has all the instructions about what to do with this exercise. And also use the DMC short courses data for the exercise. So the goal of this workshop is to get you started on using Tableau and learns the basic workflow of using Tableau Public. Once again, this is the basic workflow of using Tableau. First, you connect to your data, and then you analyze your data. You create basic views with worksheets, and then you put your worksheets together to make interactive dashboard. And then you save your work either to your local computer or to Tableau server. With Tableau Public, you're limited to connect to static data files like Excel or CSV files. And in terms of analysis, there's not much difference between the full version and the public version. In terms of saving and publishing, you're limited to save to Tableau Public server. You cannot save any work locally. So don't publish confidential or security sensitive data to Tableau Public server. Two very important concepts I want you to take away from this workshop, dimensions and measures. Dimensions are qualitative fields that hold categorical or descriptive information. Measures are quantitative fields that hold numerical data that can be aggregated. Measures come to the view automatically aggregated. Dimensions come to the view as row or column headers or labels. Dimensions defines the level of details in the view or the granularity of the view. Back to the example at Rice OIR website. Hopefully, by the end of this workshop, you know how to create similar data visualizations like this. Thank you and have fun learning Tableau.